One morning, without warning and without explanation, Gregor Samsa wakes up and discovers that he has changed. He is no longer human. As he opens his eyes in his small bedroom, he realizes that his body has become that of a huge insect, lying helplessly on its back, his many legs moving in the air. Kafka begins the story with a sentence that is as calm as it is shocking. When Gregor Samsa awoke one morning from uneasy dreams, he found himself transformed in his bed into a gigantic insect. There is no build-up. No reason is given. The transformation simply is. And what is most disturbing is not the change itself, but Gregor's reaction. His first thought is not fear or panic, it is work. He worries about being late for his job as a traveling salesman, a job he hates but continues to do to support his parents and his younger sister, Greta. Gregor has lived his life as a provider, not as a person. As time passes, his family begins to notice that something is wrong. His manager arrives at the door demanding explanations. Gregor tries to speak, but his voice comes out as strange sounds, no longer human. When the door finally opens and his family sees him, their reaction is immediate and full of horror. They do not see Gregor, they see a problem. His father drives him back into his room with a cane and a newspaper, injuring him in the process. From that moment on, Gregor's world becomes smaller and smaller. His room becomes his entire existence. At first, his sister Greta shows compassion. She brings him food, cleans his room, and tries to understand his new needs. Gregor listens quietly to the family conversations through the door, slowly realizing a painful truth. Without him working, the family must change. And they do. They find jobs, they rent out a room, life continues. Gregor, however, fades. One of the most symbolic moments comes when his father throws apples at him in anger. One apple becomes lodged in Gregor's back and begins to rot there, causing him constant pain. This injury never heals. It is a physical reminder of rejection, guilt, and punishment. Kafka writes with devastating simplicity. The apple remained embedded in his flesh as a visible reminder of his injury. This moment marks a turning point. Gregor understands that he is no longer seen as a son, but as a burden. Even Greta, once gentle and kind, grows tired. She begins to see Gregor not as her brother, but as something that must be removed so the family can live freely again. She finally says what everyone is thinking. We must try to get rid of it. This sentence is short, cold, and final. Gregor hears it and understands. In his final moments, Gregor thinks not of himself, but of his family. He feels guilt for causing them pain and believes that disappearing is the best thing he can do for them. Quietly, alone, and unnoticed, he dies. After his death, something strange happens. The family feels relief. They go outside together. They talk about the future. They notice that Greta has grown into a young woman full of life and possibility. Gregor is never mentioned again. The metamorphosis is not really about becoming an insect. It is about what happens when a person is valued only for usefulness, not for being human. Kafka shows us a world where love depends on productivity, where illness or difference leads to isolation, and where identity slowly disappears when society no longer has a place for you. Gregor does not change inside, only outside. But the world's response reveals something deeply uncomfortable about family, work, and modern life. And perhaps the most unsettling question the story leaves us with is this. If Gregor stopped being useful long before he became an insect, was the transformation really physical at all?
Thanks for listening to Books Simply. If this explanation helped you understand the book more clearly, feel free to explore the next video in this series. New book explanations are added regularly. If you spot any mistakes or have suggestions, feel free to share them in the comments. If this helped you, a like is appreciated. You're welcome to subscribe and let us know which book you'd like to hear next.